Hi, today I want to talk to you about the importance of using tables in Excel. We have a dataset for this purpose. There are 500 rows of data in our dataset. First, let's look at how we keep our data. On this page, we see that the data is kept as a range. On our data table page, we see that our data is kept as a table. I prepared 4 different scenarios to explain the importance of using tables. First, range to range. Second, range to table. Third, table to range. And fourth, table to table. Let's start with the range to range scenario. First, let's read the note. Our first drawback is formulas do not expand downward. To better understand our examples, let's see how we bring our data with VLOOKUP formula. You know, the VLOOKUP formula allows to fetch data from another table or range based on a specific reference. In order to fetch the data in the first column, we take the reference value in cell A2 of this page and scan the area from cell A2 to cell H5001 in the data range page. We pick the second column of the range. We use column 3 for last name, 4 for gender, 5 for country, 6 for age, 7 for date, and 8 for AD. If I write 1 to the index value, Excel fetches the values correctly. Let's go and check it out now. We go to the first row. As you can see, all columns are fetched correctly. So, what if I want to write the second index in the line below? No value returned. Why? Because the formulas are only in the first row. I can filter down the formulas to fetch the data. But it is possible that we may encounter some problems as a result of filling to down. We see that while it's been scanning A2 to H5001 in the first row, in the second row it's been scanning A3 to H5002. Therefore, if I write 1 instead of 2, our formulas will return errors. Of course, there are solutions, but so far, this method does not give us the right results. Also the fact that still I have to drag the formulas down. The method does not satisfy enough. You can use this method, but as I said, you will have to spend extra effort. As you know, our first scanning area was from cell A2 to H5001. If you go to the data range page and enter a new data in the 5001 index, can we access this data? I'm writing 5001 as index. As you can see, we couldn't reach the correct results. Let's move on to the second scenario, range to table. Here, the difference is that we have converted the target range to a table. As you can see here, the formula still scans a range. We have the same formulas again. So, if I write 1 as the index, it will fetch the data correctly. Well, what happens if we write 2 in the second row? The formula will be automatically applied to the second row. If you look at the formula in the last name column of the first row, it scans the range A2 to H5001. When we go to the second row, we encounter the same problem again, the range offset, because the range A3 to 502 is scanned. So, if we enter the value 1 in the first line, it still returns an error. What were the drawbacks here? When we enter a new value in the data range, it won't be reflected in the table. We enter a new value 5001 in the data range. Let's see if we can find 5001 in this scenario. Did we find 5001? Actually, the reason we found it is because the range has shifted downwards. When we write 5001 on the first row, we can see that an error was returned again. Our third scenario, table to range. In the formula here, our reference A2 is scanned from table 1 and the related row values are returned. Other columns is in the same order. So where is table 1? Here it is. This entire field is table 1. I choose the field. As you can see, it's called table 1. If you write 1 in the first line, the data is fetched correctly. On the downside, it says formulas don't expand downward. Indeed, if we write 2 in the second row, the data is not fetched. Again, we can drag our formulas down. When I type 2 on the second row, the correct result is returned. What if I write 1? As you can see, this also returned the correct result. If we look at the last name column, we see that our reference is scanned on table 1 in both rows. Our final scenario, table to table. There is no drawbacks with this scenario like the others. When we enter 1 as the value, the result returns true. When we look at the formulas, we see that the reference is scanned from table 1. If you enter 2 to the second row, the formulas are automatically filled to down. What happens if we write 1 on the second line? Again, the correct result is fetched. So, what happens if we add a new row in the data table? Since the data transfer is from table to table, even if we add new value to the bottom also returns the correct result. That's all I want to tell in this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. See you in other videos.